Hi, I'm Sue Kropbauer, and I mentor midlifers. I guide them through a quick start plan to getting themselves unstuck, getting their mojo back, figuring out a plan for the rest of their life. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about it's not what you know, it's who you know, and more. It seems like, all our parents and teachers focus on when we're growing up is the importance of building out what we know, head knowledge. But they never once touched on the importance of building who we know. Why did they put so much emphasis on us learning rather than building connections in a network? Don't get me wrong, what we know is still very important. The more we learn in school and through our experiences, the better equipped we are to handle new challenges and unfamiliar opportunities. Our skills and knowledge will be the gateway that determines what jobs we get and with what companies we work for. If you don't know the answers to some of the main questions that employers ask in interviews, well, quite frankly, you probably won't get the job. However, you may never get the interview in the first place if you don't know the right people. Sometimes if you know someone, they might not even care about your skills or education. In fact, that's when you often hear the popular cliche, it's who you know, not what you know. Who you know might matter more, or at least be just as important as what you know in opening up those doors to a professional or a business opportunity. But I want to be clear, I am not particularly fond of the phrase, it's all about who you know, because, well, that can be misleading. You hear the phrase being tossed around, giving you a false sense of hope that your next big opportunity will come through your network and who you know. But it's not that simple. Just because you know someone doesn't mean they have any obligation to you. They owe you no favors. And any recommendations they give to you, job openings they send over, or any good word they put in for you with a potential business investor or customer or job opportunity comes from the cornerstone of the relationship you have built with them on friendship and trust. Simply stated, the claim, it's all about who you know, just doesn't cut it. As a mentor, teacher, leader, and practitioner in mentoring entrepreneurs, I shy away from this phrase. So today we're going to look at why this statement is problematic, and in a minute or so, I'll provide an easy to follow framework for practical steps to move from what you know to who you know to I'm not going to spill the beans quite yet. If you're the one that finds you use this quote a lot, I might caution you to consider a different variation. I first heard this slight change in emphasis around the mid-2000s. It came from a presentation that I was at, given by a nationally known motivational speaker and trainer who's located right here in my hometown of Minneapolis. His name's Ryan Estes. He said, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. Think about that. It's kind of a twist. It's a good one. It's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. When it is about who you know, I cringe at that phrase because there isn't enough action in those words. It's like an empty promise. The phrase says nothing of the work you'll need to do, the work you have to put in, nor does it give any direction or guidance on how to do it. The phrase doesn't emphasize enough the amount of responsibility placed on your shoulders and mine to add value, to be someone worth knowing. Wouldn't you want to know how these relationships are developed? Wouldn't you want to be the first person someone thinks of when they see about a job opening or a business opportunity when it comes up? Here's what these memorable people who are known are doing. First, understand this. Successful people aren't stagnant bystanders. They create and they share with the world. And then, at some point, the world begins to notice. This naturally leads to meeting new people, stirring up new conversations, and building out new relationships. Let's compare that with what I find a lot of my mentoring clients do. You'll find this in social media too, and on the online content creators, many people, including myself. They create some piece of content, like this video. They share it with the world, and then they sit back and wait for the world to respond back to them. We constantly check our notifications to see if somebody liked it or commented on our creation. It's exhilarating when they do, and so depressing when they don't. We get caught up in statistics, analytics, going viral, and we consume ourselves with the outcome of our work. Admit it. You've been sucked into the vortex too, haven't you? Oh, good grief. How overwhelming. The second key area where people put in time and reap the benefits of trust and friendship is in contributing. Contributors are actively and honestly engaged in the work of others. They're out there commenting on the creations of someone other than themselves. They join in on someone else's conversation and add value to the discussion without it being about or pointing to themselves. Join in on the fun with someone else. Make their day. Help someone else's content go viral. If you come across a post that resonates with you, well, by gummit, comment on it. Build someone else up and leave them a comment that makes them feel good about the work they're doing. Promote their content and actively share the work of others. Are you starting to see now the phrase, it's all about who knows you? And when it begins to make more sense when you look at it this way. And finally, if you help others be successful, well, they'll take notice. And as they take notice of you, they will tell others about you and your work. It's a beautiful, reciprocal process of building trust and lasting relationships. One of the best ways for this to happen is to just forget about yourself and serve. Serving, well, that's just simply performing services for another person. It's not always about who you know. The cornerstone of a hard-earned career or business success rests on the efforts made in building trust, lasting, genuine relationships. You do that by focusing on creating and sharing, adding value, and servant leadership. Focus on adding value everywhere you go. How can I be of help to you today? And people will talk about the good work that you do. You're going to stand out, and others are going to take notice, and you'll forge some unexpected friendships along the way as well. That's how who you know transforms into who knows you by the value and the investment you've brought to them and made in them. Okay, gonna bring this plane in for a landing. So I have to circle back to the beginning. Don't get me wrong, who we know is still very important. Who you know is even more important for midtrepreneurs. The right connections can help entrepreneurs take their businesses to the next level in many different ways. Some of you may be disheartened by this fact because, well, like many others, your main focus has been on building what you know and who you know rather than who knows you. Fortunately, who you know can be easier to build than who knows you, but it's the key to unlock the door you need to go through in order to become known. And gasp! That means building your network. So, what does your network actually look like? And point of clarity, I'm not talking about the raw number of Instagram followers you have. If you think about your network and you're coming up with a very short list of names or maybe even none at all, you're not alone. The word networking gets thrown around a lot, but it can be hard to define. Yet it's critical to your career and your business success to be able to network effectively and to build a solid base of contacts, connections, of who actually know you and value you and can bring you and other opportunities. Next week, we're going to dive a little bit into the topic of making your network work. And, well, if you're not feeling confident about making big changes that will stretch you, you can learn more about how to activate by using my compass framework and get comfortable with being uncomfortable inside Module 5 of my Kickstart Your Comeback course. If you want to learn more about it, you can click the link in my bio. And I'll see you next week as we talk a little bit about how to make your network work.